During the mid-season break, FIA confirmed the 2026 power unit regulations, alongside specifics on modifications to aerodynamic regulations to prevent porpoising and stiffer roll hoop standards. We also got confirmation that big automobile companies will join F1 as of 2026. Do you want to know more about this? Then stay tuned. It may seem like a long time until the 2026 season, but it isn't that far away at all in terms of creating and developing a completely new PU. The fact that the Volkswagen Group, along with its affiliated brands Porsche and Audi, has been waiting for definitive confirmation of the regulations before formally committing to competing in the sport in 2026 adds to the significance of this development. Audi is preparing its own independent V6 project and will take over and rebrand Sauber, or what is currently known as Alfa Romeo. Porsche is joining forces with Red Bull Racing and will produce its new PU in conjunction with the new RB Powertrains division that is being put together in Milton Keynes. Over 30 years have passed since Porsche made its last unsuccessful attempt at Formula One with the terrible V12 that it delivered to the hapless Footwork team in 1991. That attempt was a complete failure. Since then, there have been a few false dawns as the VW Group kept an eye on Grand Prix racing but never committed. Despite having participated in the deliberations that resulted in the formulation of the current hybrid rules, which were first implemented in 2014, the corporation was never seen at the subsequent meeting. The Dieselgate scandal did not assist Formula One's position on the list of priorities. Now is the proper time, for a variety of reasons, including those pertaining to finances and marketing, for the new additions to F1. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One, was tasked with reviewing an Audi entry at one point, and he has done everything in his power to ensure that both German marques are prepared to commit. Before they completely committed to Formula One, they had a long list of requirements that needed to be satisfied first. Importantly, they desired a set of technical regulation modifications that were substantial enough to force incumbent competitors to return to the drawing board, which would reduce the competitive disadvantage faced by new entrants. Before the start of the 2026 season, Mercedes, Renault and Ferrari will have worked under the current regulations for a combined total of 12 full seasons. This does not include the years of development that preceded the introduction of the hybrid V6 rules in 2014. To put it another way, if 2026 saw a greater number of shifts than expected, and if the established players were forced to reconsider a greater number of aspects of their games, then Audi and Porsche would benefit. The elimination of the MGU-H, a device that recovers and returns energy to the turbocharger, was the central factor in all of this. This was a concession made to the newcomers by the established manufacturers who reluctantly accepted it. However, many other alterations have been made, one of which is a shift in emphasis from the lower portion of the engine to the upper portion, where the combustion area and the associated components will serve as the primary arena for competition among the various manufacturers. There will be an increase in the amount of standardization as well as widespread simplicity. Even though the MGU-H won't exist anymore, the ERS will be more effective. What's more, the FIA has stated that the rules will aim to increase the road relevance of the cells, power electronics and MGU-K, which generates electricity under braking and uses it to power the car when accelerating. Changes to the hardware will be accompanied by a transition to entirely sustainable fuels by the year 2026. This is something that both new and existing manufacturers have welcomed, both for readily apparent marketing reasons and for a genuine desire to lead the way forward for the entire industry. Many of the technical regulations, such as the standardization of parts and other development limits, also contribute to the financial component of the new package. This is because both sets of regulations are interrelated. It has been noted by the FIA that the supply perimeter has been extended to ensure parts such as exhaust systems and ancillaries must be designed for a complete PU life, resulting in a significant cost saving over a season. Come 2026, while there still will be limits on the number of PU elements a driver can use in a season before incurring penalties, those limits will be stricter than they have been in the past. In much the same way that the teams have had to get used to constraints on aerodynamic testing, one of the most significant aspects of the package for 2026 is a limitation on the number of hours that may be spent running a dyno. The new regulations cover the 3 years of development that take place in 2023, 24 and 25 and stipulate a total of 5,400 test bench hours for the V6, in addition to 3,400 for the ERS. Combining the 3 years means that if your project is delayed in getting started, you can shift more of your total hours into either 2024 or 2025, and you won't miss out on anything. This will ensure that the newcomers have an equal opportunity to succeed. When competition with the new PU begins in 2026, each driver will receive the same number of hours per year, regardless of their position. In addition, there is a cap placed on the total number of dynamometers that can be utilized by any given brand, with the minimum need being 3 for single-cylinder engines, 3 for power units, and 1 for powertrains. Under the heading Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities, the FIA has a provision that will help level the playing field amongst the various manufacturers in 2026. This provision will be helpful for the 2 newcomers and any other manufacturer that makes a mistake. Any manufacturer that is more than 3% behind the power output of the best PU will be granted permission for more modifications and additional dyno hours to bridge the gap. All of the factors mentioned earlier are incorporated into the recently implemented PU financial regulations, a novel aspect essential for new entrants. Spending is essentially capped at $95 million per year for the 3 development seasons from 2023 to 2025. This amount will increase to $130 million once the racing begins in 2026. As is the case with the pre-existing team financial regulations, there are a number of exceptions. These exceptions include the production and maintenance of power units leased to customers and any spending on the existing engines that will be raced in 2023 to 2025. These exceptions include the production and maintenance of power units leased to customers and any spending on the existing engines that will be raced in 2023 to 2025. There is a concession for Porsche and Audi that is designed to help them get up to speed over the course of the next 3 years. This concession is buried deep inside the actual relations, and the FIA's 2-page summary does not mention it. In essence, new entrants will be able to spend an additional $5 million in 2023 compared to the existing firms, followed by $10 million in 2024 and another $10 million in 2025. Some influential members of the Formula One community held the opinion that the established manufacturers were in effect filibustering by dragging things out so that Audi and Porsche would be many months behind schedule when everything was ultimately agreed upon. Meanwhile, at Red Bull Powertrains in Milton Keynes, where most of the company's employees relocated in June, work on the Porsche project is already progressing at a breakneck pace. Not only has the company spent a significant amount of money on hiring former Mercedes HPP employees, but it has also invested heavily in all of the dynos and other equipment necessary to build and run an F1 engine program. There has been a mad dash to have it done before the spending limit goes into effect the next year. Ford is yet another potential engine supplier that could join Formula One in the near future. As a manufacturer of racing engines, Ford has a rich and illustrious history in Formula One. From 1967 until 2004, the United States-based supplier supplied engines to 67 different teams, and in that time, it won 10 constructor championships. Ford is one of the most successful vehicle manufacturers to enter Formula One because of the enormously successful Cosworth engine. Would you be excited to see Ford make a comeback to Formula One? Let us know in the comment section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching Epic F1 News.